okay. I was just looking. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry about that. I missed a step.
Oh, right. There we go. No problem. It's like, yeah, thanks and hello and welcome again to day number 10 of the first Columbus KTC Meditation Marathon. And congratulations to everyone who participated in the 10-day meditation challenge. And we've been talking to many of you.
You muted yourself, Lama Kathy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. And so it's been great being with you guys every evening and hearing from you about your experiences and so forth. And this evening, our topic is how to make lasting change. And I think you'll see we have Lama Tom is here and Lama Adam is here. And the three of us will be talking a little bit about the topic of making lasting change. But I know we've been asking for you to sort of report in every time. And I know it's maybe a little tiresome to have a discussion because we're kind of discussed out. But just in case, it would be great if anybody has anything that they've noticed about themselves this week or anything that might have changed for you, or maybe if there's something you want to take away from this week, what's changed for you, or has anything changed, or is there anything that's happened that you'd sort of like to take forward with you into the next week and the next week and the next week?
Lama Kathy, for me, it's just been, I think, minding how much time I'm spending each day has helped me to challenge myself to make even more time than I was. So I've been able to increase my capacity a little bit more.
Yeah, increased capacity is, I think, something we can all use. We can all use increased capacity for meditation. So that's good. I know it's one of those things. I was keeping track also for the web page, and I noticed that I had days when I did more meditation and days not so much. And yeah. Other people have things they'd like to mention.
For me, it was being able to squeeze practice time in when, even though I have obstacles to practice, like, oh, I've got an appointment at this time, or, oh, I've overslept. So now, morning prayers become brunch prayers. And, I kind of try to squeeze everything as much in as I can, because I don't know when my next opportunity will be. So for me, I'd like to take forward that adaptability to be able to kind of continue to kind of adapt when obstacles arise and kind of wrap my practice around that instead of using that obstacle as an excuse to not do it.
Yeah, I see. One of the things that I noticed is that when I practice meditation, I learn a lot about myself. And the things I learn about myself may not be things I want to learn about myself, but I can also learn some things that give me compassionate feelings toward myself, knowing that I'm human, and that as a human being, I need my rest, and I need my nourishment, and I need my exercise, and trying to put everything in the right order it can be challenging sometimes. So I appreciate the fact that you noticed that. So that's really great. Anybody else have things that they noticed that changed for them, or things that they'd like to take forward?
Well, sometimes I notice that the more I practice, the more irritable I can feel. Now, I know, and this goes in the exact opposite of what you're supposed to say, probably, that you're supposed to get real calm and all that kind of stuff. But I know sometimes, because I've been practicing a lot this week, and I just feel really agitated. And it doesn't make me not want to practice. In fact, it makes me want to practice more, which doesn't make a lot of sense either. But I find that to be true. And another thing I'm noticing is like, I used to have real strong feelings about things that are really important that I need to do. And that seems to be settling out a lot more. And now I'm not feeling like this week I watched like Dexter a lot. Are you familiar with Dexter?
I am. It's about a serial killer.
Yeah, right. Well, we won't talk about what the subject is, but I've never allowed myself to binge watch anything because I have real strong ideas in my mind about, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But it's like that's really relaxed a whole lot. So I've been kind of binge watching Dexter in between meditation sessions.
I love it.
So I don't know if I should be confessing all that, but it seems to be
It's
true.
all right, my child. There are llamas present. I know it.
Yay. But so I don't really know what to say about it all, except that I have been practicing more lately these last 10 days because of this. I mean, just usually I do like in morning session, evening session, but I've been doing an afternoon session a lot too. And I'm not sure what to say about it, except that I think what's happening is I'm having less real strong delineations, between what I'm supposed to do and what I'm not supposed to do. And that seems to be okay. I'm not giving myself a hard time about stuff, I guess.
Lamas, do you have any comments or thoughts so that for Leesa?
I think being hard on myself was a big theme in my 3-year retreat. Like that was something that I had to unwind a little bit. So yeah, I think that's great. And I'm in the middle. I just started the Crown on Netflix. That's
did you? I really had, for the longest period, I wouldn't allow myself to watch TV at all. I mean, for years, I had real strong ideas about right and wrong, and TV was on my list of this is a waste of time. You should never do this type of thing. So it's kind of a big deal for me to be that relaxed about it and not give myself a hard time.
Well, it sounds like what you're saying too is that you were doing your practice and feeling okay about doing some other stuff too.
Yeah.
Which is really like that's getting towards the middle, which is the whole point,
Right.
So that's great.
Okay, good.
Lama Tom, anything to add? Oh, I see. Are you muted? Okay. Yeah.
So Leesa, what was the show you watch?
It's called Dexter. It was something. It was a show that I watched a lot of years ago, but I just rewatched it again. It's about a charming serial killer, actually.
Maybe that's why you're irritable.
Maybe. I was trying to use sometimes, like I do chud practice. I was trying to use some of the cut up body parts, in the visualization of.
Okay.
Yeah. As Dr. Phil, the television psychologist, would say, how's that working for you?
I think it's okay.
Yeah, I do think self-judgment does hit us a lot. And I think what I've noticed is that when kind of something similar to what Lama Adam was mentioning, when I'm really hard on myself and hold myself really, really tightly, that's when I actually get really irritable. And when I begin to feel burdened by my practice or burdened by my responsibilities or whatever. And I remember Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche giving advice one time that to someone, he said that if their practice was starting to make them feel oppressed, they actually needed to let up a little bit. On the one hand, I think it's about balance more than anything else, and to notice when we are too far in one direction and too far in another direction, which is actually a skill that we that is handed to us when we start doing shamatha practice, right? When we start doing shamatha practice, we learn things about ourselves. Not all the stuff we learn about ourselves is happy news. It may be that we do have problems with addictive behaviors, or we do things that maybe aren't good for us, and that sort of thing. But at the same time, I remember Situ Rinpoche said to us one time, we are human beings and we do need recreation. So if you starve yourself for any of the things that you need, then you're going to feel a little uncomfortable. And he said it's better to do things in balance to each other and to have a balanced life rather than doing too much of one thing and not enough of another. I think that's kind of what he was saying. He said he himself was an artist and he needed to do art for a certain amount of time, and he needed to have recreation for a certain amount of time, but he had to have everything in balance so that he could accomplish what he set out to do. So I don't know if balance is a useful topic, but that's something worth thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thought I had was in terms of irritability, I think we all experience that. And the fact that you just continue on and even the way you spoke about it was not, you weren't upset about it. And I think that's really important in terms of, your resilience to keep on going, whatever the weather.
Whatever comes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing too is it's really valuable information to have, to know that this is what's going on. Most of us, most of the time, we're just irritable. We're not knowing we are irritable, unless you have a wife who lets you know.
Yeah. I appreciate that. So it sounds as though there are some things we would like to take away this week from our experience. Some of it is about balance, about allowing ourselves to relax. Some of it sounds like it's about making time for meditation, making time for ourselves, and also, I guess that relaxed touch, not too tight and not too loose, which isn't that the instruction that we get when we get the practice of meditation taught to us the very first time, when they call it relaxed attention. Usually if we're attentive, we're like really attentive. And if we're really relaxed, we're like really relaxed. But this relaxed attentiveness is a balance that we're trying to strike with our practice. So it's something, these are things worth taking away. And I guess the topic for this evening, which is making lasting change. Now that we've noticed changes in ourselves, how do we take these changes forward in our lives? How do we move into tomorrow and the next day and the next day and try to maintain the momentum of change that we've seen during this week? I don't know if we want to get into the topic just this minute, but I don't know, Lamas, do you think we should do some meditation first, or?
Sure.
I see a nod. I see nodding. Okay. Yeah, because in case you haven't gotten your meditation time in today, we will help you out. So I didn't flip a coin. So Lama Adam or Lama Tom, you want to flip a coin and see who leads the meditation here, this first meditation?
Go ahead, Lama.
Yeah. Okay. I'll lead the first one, and then we'll have we'll take turns on the next ones. This one, since you have already attended many of the sessions this week, you're already familiar with the technique of relaxed attention, or shamatha, calm abiding. And it begins with placing our body in the posture of meditation, working our way up from the legs to the seat, making sure we're grounded on our seat. Our back has its nice curves in it. Our shoulders, hands, and arms, our shoulders are straight. The breastbone moves up. The hands can be placed either flat or with the thumbs at the base of the ring fingers closed in a light fist, palm downward on the legs. If you're sitting in a chair, your feet are hip width apart and your hands are laying on the top of your legs. Then the chin can be tucked in slightly. The eyes can either be cast downward a few feet ahead or closed lightly. The tip of the tongue can touch the upper palate behind the front teeth and flatten to relax the muscles of the face. So there we have the posture. The legs, the seat, the back, the shoulders, hands, and arms, the chin, the gaze, and the tip of the tongue. Placing the body in the posture of meditation, we relax. And make the mental aspiration to do this practice of meditation for the benefit of ourselves and all beings. Then beginning with one deep breath, breathing out, and then allowing the breath to come and go naturally, placing our attention on the movement of the breath as it goes out and comes in. We'll sit quietly like this. And if we notice distractions, if our attention is drawn away from the breath, we use the technique called touch and let go, touching the thought with our attention, letting it go, and then returning the attention to the breath for a fresh start in our meditation. So we'll sit quietly and meditate for just a few minutes. Okay, that's a short period of meditation. I know that it's been a good retreat for many of us, even though the times around us are kind of hard right now. There's a lot going on in the world. I've really appreciated having your support every evening and doing meditation with all of you. And now we're thinking about how to take the changes that we've noticed in ourselves and how to take these forward. And if we look at possible strategies and things that we could do in order to take our practice of meditation forward, we can look at such things as what we can think about what stands in the way of us accomplishing our changes, and maybe what it will take for us to make these changes. And so you can be thinking about those things, but I think in the interest of time, so that the three lamas, we can share a little bit of strategies with you. I'll just say a couple of things about how you might start thinking about making a lasting change. And for me, it consists of making a commitment. You can even make it a verbal commitment to yourself. I'm going to be practicing meditation. I even know people who have said that they are going to do at least a tiny bit of meditation every day. And they give themselves a very small amount to do. And they say, I'm going to do that much meditation every day without fail. And it can be as short as like 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever, but to do a little bit. And so making that kind of a commitment is one of the ways that that helped me to make a change. I was able to meditate just a little bit every day, and I was able to keep it going for a very long time. And I've missed some days, but taking that little commitment was what helped me get started. So that's one of my little strategies. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Lama Tom and Lama Adam for them to talk about strategies as well.
One of the things I would say is I think the talks during the evening sessions are themselves sort of markers or road signs to change, to have the confidence to begin, knowing you have all the qualities necessary to meditate, that you do have that within you. You can do this. Courage, it's a little scary sometimes to make a commitment to say, I will do so, because then I might not. And, who wants that? So you have to have a little courage about that. And then once, and Lama Kathy's pointed this out really clearly, once you initiate, you start finding obstacles, or stuff comes up, and so you have to stick with it despite what comes up. You have to keep going. So that's resilience. So I think the talks themselves give us some road map or some map to change. And the other thing too is I've been given this advice frequently, which is don't take what comes up, don't take the easiest thing to deal with. If for example, on the cushion, off the cushion, you find jealousy to be something difficult to deal with, choose that. Have the courage to deal with that. The other thing that Lama Kathy says frequently is to take little steps. Don't expect that everything's going to be perfect tomorrow. It takes time. But you are to expect obstacles, because what we're really going for is to look at our own mind and to see how it is Buddha nature. Of course, that's a long way off. At least it is for me. But in that process, there's going to be a lot of things come up that you're going to have to deal with on that road to seeing that. So I think I've said enough there, but yeah, it's that. Lama Adam.
To piggyback off what Lama Tom was saying about commitment, when he was saying that, it reminded me that I know Kempa Carter Rinpoche would, when asked about commitments and vows and stuff like that, I know he would say that even if you're not sure if you can do it, it's still a good idea to do it. If it's something you want to do, but you're not sure you can keep it, like most of us, when we take a vow, like we're at some point we're going to fail along the way. But if it's something we want to do, it's okay to make a commitment, and it's okay to, falter on the way and then get back on course. And in fact, these points where we fall off of our practice or fall off of our commitments and we come back, I mean, that in a way, that is the path, we're not going to be perfect until we've reached the end of that path, so the obstacles and challenges and falling short, like that's part of the whole thing, and working with them, with some gentleness towards yourself, I think is important. And then the other thing I wanted to say, and this is sort of, I know this from my experience, so I don't know if this applies to you too, but I hope it's helpful, is I know for me, I've a lot of times when I don't do my practice or don't follow through on my commitments, I've noticed that it is through a misapprehension of the causes of happiness, for instance, if we meditate for 10 days, like this has definitely been me before, like I'll go 10 days meditating and then I'll go, well, I could take a day off today. And in a way, it's like saying, I deserve a day off. I've done this for 10 days. And whether you're actually using that language or not, you need to think about what that really means. You know what I mean? Like, and if you are using that sort of language or thinking in that way, you're making a big mistake, because the reason you feel better for those 10 days, or the reason I feel better, I should say, is because, we were doing our meditation. And so it's important, I think, to really think about what is the cause of lasting happiness and the cause of the qualities that we experience through our meditation. When we start to feel more clear or calm or capable and things seem more workable, that's because we're doing the meditation, and we know that mundane things, worldly things, attachment to samsara is not a cause of happiness. So it is, that's it, in one way that's very fundamental, but I know for me, I've had to think about that a lot, because a lot of times I think that, that idea of like, well, I deserve a day off now today. And I figured this out, honestly, when I quit smoking cigarettes, because like, that's a big thing. If you've ever been a smoker, like you go a couple of days and you go, well, I can have a cigarette today. I deserve it. It's been so many years or so many weeks or months or days, so I think that's important to really think about, to draw a bright line from the causes of happiness to your meditation.
One of the things I'd also say, Lama Adam, too, in terms of when you do miss days, the bridge to the next day is an aspiration. Lama Kathy's talked about this before. Say I miss a day, well, don't beat yourself up. Just say, I missed today, but tomorrow I aspire to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Make that commitment. So that aspiration can be a bridge between what you did today or didn't do and what you will do tomorrow. And it's like smoking cigarettes too. I remember when I was trying to quit, I would every day I'd say, I'm going to quit today. And I wouldn't, but it was that aspiration that eventually got me back. So I think it's like that too.
Yeah. these are all good strategies, and I think that as human beings, what I've noticed is that if for us to learn anything, we have to repeat it many times. I know yesterday Lama Tom was saying that about what is it, repeating a desired behavior like 21 times in a row. As a method, as a springboard to change, and that's something that we can do just by showing up on our meditation seat. I was talking to one of my Dharma friends today, and we were talking about this very thing, about how to make things a daily habit and how to deal with having missing days and this sort of thing. And she was saying that that she has this feeling that her meditation, like she can only meditate in her meditation room. That's what she says, I've got this mind frame, that I can only meditate in my meditation room when everything is perfect. And of course she says, but then it's never perfect. Why? Because when I go to my meditation room, my cat thinks it's time for cuddling. And so, because the cat knows that I'm going to be sitting in one place for a period of time, and she just like, she's like wanting attention. And so she says, it's almost better for me not to go to my meditation room to meditate, because I become a cat magnet. So she's, she's working on alternatives in order to be able to do some practice on a regular basis. I think we have some cat owners here. Maybe you can comment. I don't know. Yeah. That's how she decided that she was just going to opportunistically sit down. She was just going to sit down and just meditate whenever she felt like it. And then she said, then I'll just kind of get into the habit. So she's going to experiment with that for a while. So we'll see how that works for her.
I can give some information about how my shamatha meditation has moved through the years involving cats.
Oh, okay.
If you're interested.
Yep.
So what I used to do, because my cats would follow me into my meditation room too, and I would use them as a distraction and kind of play with them. I'd have like a little cat toy, and I'd distract myself by playing with the cat, and then I'd remind myself, no, you're supposed to be meditating. So I'd stop that. And over the years, I just started doing that less and less. And now sometimes my cats will come and just sit in my lap, and I don't feel compelled to get involved with them. And so they've just kind of become part of everything else. My mind doesn't grab hold of them anymore like it used to. But I definitely can relate to what she's saying about being distracted by the cats and having your mind wanting to get involved with them instead of practicing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. It takes a lot of time to relax into that behavior of sitting, right?
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
But if you keep at it every day, you can watch yourself evolve over time when it comes to being distracted by something specific, like your cat. And I have different cats. I've been practicing for so long now. I have like new set of cats. So the cats I have now aren't nearly as like in my lap and stuff as the previous ones were.
Yeah. How about that? Well, thanks for sharing about your family of cats there. That's I mean, it's a thing, right? I mean, they love us, or they need us, or whatever. I don't know, but you got it. It's good. So I don't know. We have some more time, so I don't know if you'd like to have other types of discussion, but we've got some time we could meditate in, or we could have a wrap up, or what would you like to do, folks? Anything that you would still like to know? Curiosities? Yes, Elder.
I have a question, but I don't know. It might not be the right time to ask. I'm not sure, but I'm trying to figure out how much just ordinary shamatha sitting meditation I should be doing in balance with all the other practices like prayers and pujas and things like that. Maybe it doesn't matter because they all have shamatha built into them. But maybe there's also some advice about having a certain portion of it where you're just having to deal with your mind and not having visualizations and things like that to work on.
Mm-hmm. I know that Kempo Carter Rinpoche said that he had a protocol, like a list of how you would rank your practices and how you would apportion your time. And what he said was that a person should spend the majority of their practice time doing their main practice, whatever their main practice is. So for example, if a person, the top priority would be your daily practice, whatever your daily practice is. Some people have a daily practice book and they read everything that's in that daily practice. So that would be their priority one, would be doing that. And then for some people who are doing the Mahamudra Nundro, which consists of the refuge and bodhicitta, the Vajrasattva mantras, and so on, Rinpoche said that if you're doing those, then that becomes your main practice. And that's the top priority that you make sure you get through every day. And then he said that with that, then a certain amount of shamatha is a good idea. And when he was pressed by people saying, well, Rinpoche, like how much? He gave a number. He said, well, spend it, of your total practice time, spend 10% on shamatha if you're doing a daily mantra practice or a daily practice book or a daily nundro practice or things like that. Because they really, because we're crazy, right? Over here in America, we like numbers. And so like, give us percentages or numbers. And he said, okay, if you want a percentage, make it 10%. But we can't really hold people to that as a hard and fast rule. But the idea is that you're right. There is an aspect of shamatha in mantra practice. There's an aspect of shamatha in the Mahamudra practice. There's all of these practices have shamatha, meaning that you pay attention to what you're doing as an aspect of the practice. But I use Rinpoche's advice and try to make my main practice and make sure I get that done every day, and then the others. And I don't know, Lamas, what do you think? Lama Tom, Lama Adam, do you have? No, Lama Adam?
I'm glad to hear that because I'd never heard that, so that's good to hear. I think the only thing I was going to say is and maybe Lama Kathy, you can tell me if this is a good idea or not. I've just recently made a little change, and I started doing not only a little chunk of shamatha in the beginning, but also at the end. Mm-hmm. And that's been really helpful to me because I end up coming off the cushion without having just been chanting and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm. I do think that's a good idea. I do think that's a good idea because if you remember, when we were studying Lojong, it said that when we get up from our cushion, we should do our best to not let the feeling of awareness dissipate, but rather have, and I remember Kempo Rinpoche, it was either Kempo Rinpoche or Sutra Rinpoche said, don't just jump up. You're like, oh, I'm done now, recess. It's like, we shouldn't just jump out of our seats, come off our meditation cushion and jump. And this was Sutra Rinpoche now that I think of it. He was saying, don't just jump. He said, take your time. Get up, give yourself some space and time. Get up slowly. Try not to do a lot of intentional, like heavy thinking and like excited and impulsive, movement. And he said, just take it easy, build a bridge, make a segue or a bridge between your meditation and the practice. And I think that, so Lama Adam, I think that's a great idea to end with some shamatha. You can start with some and end with some, and then that way you can build that bridge of awareness, of being aware of what you're doing and not just jumping. That really meant a lot to me to hear Sitra Rinpoche say that. And I want to go ahead.
I want on that topic. I just wanted a little anecdote, and you can tell me if you've heard this too, Lama Kathy, if this is true or somebody told me this as a joke. But I think somebody at one point did do this sort of getting off the cushion very quickly thing, and I heard a story about someone who did that and actually like really seriously injured their legs because they didn't realize that their legs were like asleep and they stood up and like fell over. So if you need another reason not to stand up quickly, there's that.
Well, I'll tell you what, pragmatism is always good. And yeah, we do have to protect our precious human life, right? And so I think that's very smart. And if I could backtrack for one moment to finish the Khenpo Rinpoche's presentation on prioritization of practice, because when I give that little talk based on what he said, I like to try to give the whole thing, and I did forget the other parts of it. So he said that when you have a main practice, whether it's your daily practice book, those of us who did the 3-year retreat, we have a practice book that we have to work through every day. And it's kind of like, gosh, it's like the Catholic priests have their office that they have to recite every day, right? You know, our seminarian, Lama Tom, he knows about this. And you know, so then if we have a daily practice book and that we have to work through, that's our top priority. The second priority, and if you're a Nundro practitioner, it's your Nundro practice. Second priority is anything that you have made a promise to do. I know in Vajrayana Buddhism, they talk about samaya or promise or bond, and it has to do with sometimes the Lama will give you a samaya or ask for a promise for you to do certain number of mantras every day of certain deities. Back in the day, the early days of Tibetan Buddhism in America, when Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche and other lamas were giving empowerments and so forth, there was a tradition of giving a certain number of mantras as a commitment or a samaya after an empowerment. After a while, the lamas found that the practitioners were not keeping those samayas, and so they stopped giving them. But some of us from the early days still have mantra promises that we have to keep every day. And so that's our second priority, any practice that you've promised your Lama you would do. And this is not an accidental thing. You'll know if you took one. It's not like, do I have a samaya for this or did I? If you don't remember, you don't have it. At least from your side, you don't have it. And so that way you don't have to worry too much. And if that can help a little bit. So that's the second priority. The third priority is any practice that you have permission to do and you want to do. So you have to have both things. You have to both have the permission to do it and have the instructions on how to do it. And so if you have the permissions and instructions, then you can fill the remainder of the time with things that you like to do. But not everybody has that kind of time to get down to priority 3, you know. But I just thought I would give the full instruction as Rinpoche gave it so that people would know that there are ways that we can do this. And in Karma Chagme, the great meditation master, I believe 16th or 17th century, he said that there are ways to keep samayas by reciting Chenrezi mantras and things like this in place of tons and tons of samayas. But that's a topic for another day. But thought I would at least share that much with you.
That's massively helpful. Thank you all very much.
Yeah. Any other questions that people might have or things that you're wondering about?
I have some questions about visualization.
Sure.
I've always been really bad with being able to visualize things, so that a lot of time, I mean, I'm getting a little better at it, but usually I would get to a place when I'm saying mantras where there's there's just like a lot of space, but I don't have any actual visualizing to fill in that space. So so it's always been very difficult for me to visualize things. What I've noticed now that I'm able to visualize, the practice I'm doing now that involves a lot of visualization is the Mikyo Dorje Guru Yoga. So I'm able to put my mind in my heart, but I'm not able to really see very strong visualizations of a form, but I'm able to feel like my attention is in my heart, if you follow me. So whereas before I would just, everything would be kind of wide open and not a lot of direction. I don't know if you can, if I'm making myself clear, but so now I'm able to, during the visualization part where I'm supposed to be saying the mantras, and Chakra is visualized in my heart, so I can put my attention into this area. And one thing that I'm trying to do to help with the visualization is to say like a mala and just visualize like the hands at the top.
Yes,
the hands the way. So for a mala, I try to just focus on that aspect, and then for the next mala, maybe work down the body and maybe do the face for a mala, and then do like his little necklace for one mala, and then do the little center heart white circle little wheel in the center.
Yeah, sure.
So is that okay? Is that all right to do it that way?
Yeah, I'm going to see Lama Adam or Lama Tom. Do you have any thoughts about this? I have some things to say, but I'd like to see also what you have to say, because you may have heard other teachings then.
I was going to, two things. This is probably Lama Kathy can fill this in more, but I know initially for me, it was really helpful to hear Rinpoche's instruction that the most important thing was to have the sense of the presence of the deity, that's really more important even than the clarity of your visualization. So like having a real feeling that they're there in front of you. Okay. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that I definitely started learning, like working top down with different parts of a deity. The other thing I found on my own, I've never heard anyone say this to me explicitly, but I started trying to make connections of what is like for instance on a Buddha's face, like where the eyes line up with the ears, you know? So I start to try to like figure out like, okay, if I'm at the eyes, what else is at this level? You know, and where is the mouth in relation to that, you know? And so that kind of helped me to bring it out more, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lama Tom, do you have any thoughts for Leesa?
No, I think what Lama Adam said, I would agree with. And I think it sounds like Leesa's doing that now, that she's got a sense of the deity being in her heart, which, as Lama Adam said, is critical and most important, more than anything else, really.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And the only thing I'll add to that is I think the fact that you've had a journey with this, you were saying it was one way at the beginning and now it's developed into another. Yeah. I think that gives you an idea of how we progress in meditation, just period paragraph, how we progress and we evolve. Our practice of meditation progresses and evolves, and it continues to progress and evolve. Why? Because we progress and evolve. And so our meditation naturally will move and change in how we experience it. And I can tell you that when I learned the visualization practices in retreat, Khenpo Rinpoche said that if you are doing long periods of mantra, if you're doing a lot of mantra at one sitting, it is fine and in fact helpful to use techniques like the one you're describing in order to place your attention on the physical presence of the Buddha or Bodhisattva of your practice. You're talking about the figure in your heart of the guru in the form of chakra samvara. And so the two phases of, actually there's three phases of meditation, visualization meditation are clearly visualizing the deity. That's phase one, where you start at the top and work toward, from the top of the head toward the bottom of the lotus underneath the Buddha or Bodhisattva, and then gradually back up, noting such things as Lama Adam was mentioning, noting the characteristics of the body and the vestments and things like this, and what they're wearing and their ornaments and so on. And then once you've started at the top, gone all the way to the bottom, and then come all the way back up to the top, then the second phase is called clearly visualizing the letters, meaning the letters of the mantra, because mantras are frequently visualized in the heart. But you have a second phase. Your second phase is clearly visualizing the Buddha in the heart. So then you would do that again, top to bottom, back up again, noting all of the characteristics. And then finally, in the heart of that Buddha, in your heart, is a mantra. And then you would visualize that to the best of your ability. And in this way, it is a form of shamatha to note the characteristics of the body of the Buddha and Bodhisattva as you work downward, and note them as you work upward, and then to look at them in that way. And so in that way, you will gradually build the visualization, and become more and more familiar with it. You can work with a picture or without a picture, but either way, this is a way that you can work with visualization. And I know lots and lots of people who also say they are bad at visualizing. It's okay, because because what Lama Adam said was indeed what Rinpoche said was the most important thing, was that you have the sense of presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that you're visualizing. But I will say one other thing, and that is that as you apply these phases of visualization meditation, the first is clearly visualizing the deity, second is clearly visualizing the letters, and then the third one, which is not present in all deity practices, has to do with the emanating and gathering of lights and things like that. That's a third phase. Some practices have it, some practices don't. And but the first two are practices that virtually everyone can do. And that Trungpa Rinpoche, in his book Creation and Completion, was gave me a piece of advice that made me super happy, and that was, your visualization will never be as crisp and as clear as what you can see with your physical eyes. He says it will never be as crisp and clear, so don't expect for it to be. He said, in fact, he said, because we use the sixth consciousness, the mental consciousness, to visualize, that's our thinking, the thinking part of our mind. We can only make approximations. And then he said, and then the approximations that we make will be subject to how steady our shamatha is. And he said, so what will happen sometimes is that you'll be visualizing a Buddha and you'll lose attention just for a second, and the head will disappear. And then you'll be visualizing the Buddha, and then your attention will wander just a little bit, and then the torso will disappear. And he said, so don't worry about these things. He said, it's just the fluctuation of how your attention works. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. We've taken you to the top of the hour. But I think, Helder, did you have a question?
I was gonna say more like a commentary. I've been struggling a lot these days with my practice because I've been speaking to you, Lama Kathy, I'm doing the non-dual practices, and I'm on number 180 per prostration a day. So some days I'm going to sleep at like 8 a.m. in the morning because I start
Oh.
doing at 2 in the morning sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to combine everything, and it has been a lot. And in the middle of the practice, I lose the numbers. So if I'm doing like number 46, I go back to 36 because I'm so sleepy sometimes.
Oh, you're sleepy.
So,
oh my gosh. How many people have, the two llamas are going to like totally relate to this. Yeah. Oh,
I just want to
well,
share this.
yeah. Well,
Helder,
go ahead.
Sorry, Helder, you should try to find one of these online. It's a finger counter. You can put it on your finger, and then each time you tap it when you do a prostration. It's the best thing ever.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I actually have a bag. If you send me your address, I'll send to you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I would be lost without mine. I would be hopeless. I can't hold a thought for more than 2 seconds.
I totally agree with this, and I'm so glad we're sharing. I can't wait to do retreat with you guys, by the way, because I have a feeling that this crew that we got here right now, you guys would be a blast on just like a couple of days of retreat. We would have a ball. Anyhow, just so you know, the other llamas can relate to this. When you're tired, you will have this experience. I would get up early and we would start at 4 a.m. in the 3-year retreat. And I would get through the first part of my page. And then I'd say, did I reach that page? Have I read that page? Then I'd read it again. And then I'd say, wait a minute, have I read that page? Because I was falling asleep. There's little micro bursts of sleep in the middle of something. So here's the deal. If you're, it could very well be that the amount of practice that you're doing, it might be too much. And if it's keeping you up really, really late at night to do it, I worry a bit about that, because everybody, it's like Sita Rinpoche when he was telling us that we needed balance in our life. You need your sleep. And if you're working hard during the day, it's going to be very difficult to do a lot of practice at night, and it might be too hard on your body to try to stay up late to do it. And so we can always talk, we can always have a chat about how to reconfigure the practice on days when you work really hard and that you are tired. So we can talk more about that, I think, and see if we can strategize some ideas for you. Okay. Yeah, but thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and you know, and I'm so, thank you, Lama Adam. You're going to send him one of those little clickers.
I think Otan has.
Otan. Okay, Otan, you're the one who has them. They're going to send. Right?
I have about 5 or 6. They are extra, and if you guys just want me to send, I'll gladly do that. May I just take this opportunity to just thank you, Lama Kathy, Lama Tom, seeing you again, Tonya, and Adam, and everybody that was participating in the meditation marathon. It's been a pleasure for me to embark in this journey. I can see many benefits that it has bleeding over to my practice. So I'm really thankful for this. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Oh yeah, no, I'm thank you so much. And what can I say? That's why I'm saying this crew should do a retreat. We should maybe the cats, maybe not the cat. I don't know. We'll have to think about cats. Cats. Okay. He's that's a thumbs up for the cats. Okay. Any other comments or things that people would like to make or question?
I'll say it's been really fun. Really enjoy our group practice and the 10-day marathon, and really appreciate it. So,
yeah,
thanks.
Most welcome. And I see, thank you, Caitlin. She says it's been a blast. Yay! I know. Now, while we've been talking, an email came through. I noticed it go across the top. And we're still getting donations for people sponsoring the meditation marathon, and we just had a $1,000 donation come across while we were sitting here. So it's like, yay, the KTC is going to get rebuilt little by little. And I have a feeling that because of the amount of fun I've had doing this 10-day program, we're probably going to do it again next year. So you can, So Lamas, do you have any parting words? Should we sit quietly for a minute and then do some things, and maybe you have some things to say at the end? Okay. Little sit first, just a 1 minute meditation. Or actually, let's have the conversation first. Lamas, do you have anything you'd like to say at the conclusion? Lama Adam and Lama Tom?
I don't really have anything else. Just keep going and be gentle on yourself.
Yeah.
And stay with the instructions. I think that's always a good thing to do anytime. So you have the instructions, and be conscious in the beginning of your meditation to review those instructions.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'll sit just, it'll be a quick meditation, just placing your body in the posture of meditation, your thoughts thinking that you're going to practice for the benefit of yourself and others, starting with a deep breath, breathing out, and allowing the attention to rest on the breath. Okay. Thank you again to all of you for joining us for the 10 evenings of Dharma Talks, and also oh good, Chantal is just saying we reached our goal of 9,000 minutes of meditation. Maybe we can make it 10 by tomorrow. Who knows? Thank you so much for this. Lama Tom, I hate to put you on the spot, but would you offer the dedication of merit for us this evening? I enjoyed listening to that yesterday, if you have that at the ready.
Sure. By this merit, may all attain awakening. May merit defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from this ocean of samsara, may we free all beings. May we free all beings. May we free all beings. Thank you.
Thank you, Lamas. Thank you so much. And if you have any comments, you can write to us at marathon@columbusktc.org. Guys.
Thank
It's been
you.
a blast.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right. Take good care, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right.